video books. So now I'm gonna open them. But I've come prepared. I'm not stupid. The last time someone sent me and I used.
So true, Deji. Thank you for your wisdom. But either way, I haven't uploaded a video in over 7 years. So I better think of a good comeback video, huh? I have way too many video ideas in my head to actually pick one, so instead I'm gonna spin a wheel and see what happens. Cause I think that would be way easier. Okay, let's see what the wheel decides. I'm actually pretty excited to welcome some new stuff, so let's see what the wheel picks. Nagito Komaeda, the ultimate lucky student, or more notably known as one of Danganronpa's most popular characters. He is a very complex and intriguing case to look at, as his history has a lot of backstory and trauma, the death of his family, and his lucky talent might actually be an unlucky talent instead. All these things will be discussed in this video as we look through the timeline and history of Nagito Komaeda. Hey, so this is a new thing that I'm doing. Let me know in the comments if you want to see me go through the history and backstory of other Danganronpa characters, as it provides a good insight for old and new fans of the series. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel too, as they both help me out immensely and it just shows the support really, because again, it just really helps me out support wise. But yeah, that's all I really have to say for the intro. Let's get into the actual video. Nagito Komaeda was born on April 28th with an unknown year. He is first introduced in Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair as a friendly and laid-back person towards the protagonist Hajime Hinata. Despite both of them being in a killing game, Nagito describes himself as a worthless and pathetic human who should only be used as a stepping stone for hope, as he believes that the strong overpowers the weak when it comes to both hope and despair. He also offers to sacrifice himself quite a lot within the game, and his obsession with hope is being necessary to survive. There's a lot of mixed and confusing meanings going on in that candy floss hair of his, but even if Danganronpa 2 was his first appearance in the series, his actual backstory goes back to when he was a child, where his entire life is surrounded by his extreme amount of luck. Unlike other characters' luck in the series, Nagito's luck works both for fortune and misfortune. This can be seen with his family's dog. While not named, Nagito was very close to the family dog, maybe even closer than he was with his parents, as it's not detailed anywhere within the story what his relationship with his parents actually was. The only tidbit we have about his parents was that he was rich and wealthy. But despite Nagito's luck, the family dog was killed in a driving accident and was ran over. As you can see by the image on the screen right now, this deeply affected and traumatized Nagito for the rest of his life. As we see him mention his dog in Danganronpa 2 chapter 5 when Akane strangles him for a short amount of time before he makes a comment about seeing his dead dog again. Another example of this unlucky and lucky streak would continue shortly after this, as during his early years, Nagito and his family were heading for a family vacation. However, on the plane ride back home from the vacation, the plane ended up being hijacked, with a small meteor crashing inside the plane right after. Yes, you heard that right. The meteor landed inside the plane, and that small meteor actually ended up killing both of the plane hijackers, and Nagito's parents were right in front of him. While Nagito's uncontrollable luck helped kill the plane jackers, it also killed his parents in the process, which is why Nagito's talent of Lucky Student makes so much more sense. A lot of people automatically assume that this title means good luck, but I feel like if you wanted to mention good luck, then Nagito's talent would have been the ultimate good lucky student, instead of just lucky student. The title actually refers to just luck in general, instead of sticking from one side or the other. After his parents' death, he was able to inherit all of his family's money and wealth, as they were the only family that Nagito had, meaning after this point, Nagito has been without a family the entire time. Over the many years, incidents like this would keep on going on within his life, such as getting kidnapped by serial killers only to find a winning lottery ticket in the bag that he was kidnapped in. After a certain point, Nagito grew tired of the luck that would control his life, which is why he decided to believe in hope. He used it as a way to help cope and find any sort of meaning within his life. After all these life-changing events would keep happening one after another, his belief in hope would continue to grow even stronger, and it would come to the point of an unhealthy obsession. And we can basically see that by the entirety of Danganronpa 2, with how far his obsession of hope has become. It's also why he is so carefree about dying or sacrificing himself, as he has already gone through enough in life in order to consider it anymore. During his Hope obsession, he wins another lottery ticket, but this wasn't for money. This was to join Hope's Peak Academy, and to be a part of Hope's Peak's 77th class, which is the entirety cast of Danganronpa 2. Well, minus Hajime, that is. It's said that in Danganronpa 2 that he refused to join Hope's Peak Academy many times, but the Academy were demanding him as they wanted to study his luck even further, in which later down the line, he accepted their offer. While it's not shown or detailed what Nagito's experience with his classmates or school was during his first couple years, but we can see in the Danganronpa 3 anime Despair arc that he gets along with his classmates just like before. His look affected his time there quite a lot, and Nagito has been described there as a problem child, and was very extreme about his actions. In the episode titled The Disappearance of Nagito Komaeda, he asked the teacher nicely about cancelling one of his exams due to the classmates being under a lot of stress, where he told her that he wouldn't be able to work their hardest during the test. But after being declined of this offer, Nagito decided to take action within the most extreme and batshit crazy way there ever was, which was by hiding a bomb within inside the gym. While his original plan wasn't to bomb the gym, this is exactly how it ended. When caught, Nagito explains that his way of thinking with Chisa telling him,
放つ瞬間に立ち会いたいだけなんです。
人を傷つける希望なんてないわ。
いいんですよ。
After this, Nagito was suspended from school for over a year. Upon return, Nagito manages to track down and find Junko in Oshima, planning to kill her with a gun that he prepared. It's unsure how Nagito got this information on Junko, or even knew where her hidden base was. At this current time, the only people who knew Junko personally or had suspicions on her were Mukuro Ikusaba, Izuru Kamakura, Mikon Samiki, Ryota Mitarai, and Kyosuke Mudakata. 4 out of the 5 of them were being associated or helping out with Junko's plan, and the only other person, Mudakata, was being sent there in order to find and take out Junko himself. So it makes me curious how Nagito knew about all this. I've seen a lot of people say that he just got lucky when finding the secret hidden base, which the part of me can see that happening, and I guess it would make sense for his character, but it wouldn't make sense how he pretty much knew everything about her or all the information, and then he says that, oh, it's in order for Hope to shine. Izuru then grabs a gun from his hand and shoots him.
It's a bit of a weird analogy.
Luckily, his phone saved him though. At this point, the entirety of the 77th class apart from Chiaki and Midori became the death group known as the Remnants of Despair, a group that focus on spreading as much despair wherever they go as they please, with the tragedy that Junko caused being in full effect. The world began in total chaos, being filled with despair just like Junko wanted. After some time, Junko had died from the killing game that took place in Danganronpa 1, which was located in the original Hope's Peak Academy. While Nagito was not there nor mentioned, Nagito did go to Hope's Peak after the killing game had happened and harvested Junko's left hand. This was so he could cut off his own left hand and replace it with Junko's. He claims he did this so he could steal her power. After making the hand transfer, this is where the events of Danganronpa Ultra Despair Girls takes place. A giant island known as Toa City filled with the killer Monokumas for our protagonist Toko Fukawa and Kamaru Naegi have to survive through the city. Nagito sports a different outfit in this game and is shown to be a servant for the Warriors of Hope, who are the villains for the game. Throughout the entire game, we see Nagito have a glove on with his left hand, which is definitely covering the fact that it is Junko's hand. It's not talked about or why he actually was trying to cover it instead of like revealing it. I'm not exactly sure, because he was more than fine to reveal it in Danganronpa 2, so I'm a bit confused as to why he wasn't okay with this here. My only guess is that the main villain of the game, Monika Toa, was the only person in the Warriors of Hope who actually knew about Nagito's true identity, so it makes sense that she most likely said to him to cover it up because she didn't want anyone else finding out who he actually was. And the reason why I think this is also the case is because he never actually mentions the name Nagito Komaeda. Like, nowhere in the entire game is Nagito Komaeda mentioned, they just call him servant. It's also a possible theory that Nagito was actually sent there as a servant with Monika in order to keep his eye on them, because Monika was already trying to step up as Junko's successor. Anyways, blah blah blah, spin-off game continues, you know, carry on. And then we get to the end where Nagito finds and helps Monika to escape from the final building that collapsed on her. At this point, it shows that Nagito is carrying Monika on his back and them telling him that he can help her become the second Junko Inoshima whenever she wanted. However, we don't really see those events transpire, as later down the line we actually learnt that Monika distanced herself from Nagito because she grew tired of the whole despair and hope shtick and she wanted to do her own thing. So it's safe to assume that they both went down some other secret hideout where they were recovering and learning more Junko Moniko stuff, only for Monika to leave randomly. Wow, and now we're finally at the events of Danganronpa 2, only took like a billion hours. Either way, Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair's big twist is that the entire thing is a simulation in order to help restore the remnants of despair to their normal selves again. In the game, we find these memories to be that the characters were taken from the time they entered Hope's Peak Academy, so this isn't really anything new here, but before the simulation starts, we find out that the Future Foundation captured and found the remnants of despair. Their plan was to kill them, however Makoto Naegi, the Ultimate Hope, and the other lucky student within the series, found them, put them in the Neo Road program, which is the Danganronpa 2 simulation. It unfortunately got turned into another killing game as the AI version of Junko had taken over the Neo Road program, with a virus forcing Nagito and his friends to take part in another killing game. While throughout the whole game, Nagito talks and obsesses over Hope a lot, even going on for a full 7-minute scene talking about his belief in details. But something to note here is that during chapter 1, up until the class trial, Nagito is seen as an overall friendly and caring person, having a very different personality than what he really is like. While I'm not sure why he hides his true self, it might be because at this point he was still at the stage of believing in hope, and his trauma from his all past events was still being fresh within his mind. Which is why he mentions his dead dog all of a sudden, and his sudden laughter being a suspect of the murder. However, in Chapter 5 of Danganronpa 2 titled Smile at Hope in the Name of Despair, we see that Nagito Komaeda's dead body, as he had been tied up and tortured by someone after he tried setting off another bomb. That is the story that we were meant to believe, however, it's discovered at the class trial that this was all a trick by Nagito, and that the actual murderer was him himself. He had tried to disguise his suicide to look like he had been tortured, and well, that was Nagito's death. Or was it? We find out after in Danganronpa 3 Hope arc that him and the entire 77 class had survived the entire killing simulation game of Danganronpa 2, with Makoto Naegi's plan to remove their brainwashing had worked, meaning that they were back to their true selves. We see that during this, Nagito had replaced his Junko hand with a robotic one. It's unsure where he got this robot arm from, but it makes sense as to why he would want to get rid of the Junko arm after going back to his true self, even if he claimed that he wanted to steal it. Then he gets on a boat with the entire 77 class to go to Jabberwock Island to live there, and not be disturbed by the world anymore, as they can finally enjoy themselves and their friends together. And that's pretty much the ending to Nagito Komaeda and the 77th class's story. We don't see or get any updates with them after this. It's safe to assume that they just were chilling on Jabberwock Island from now on. And before you mention it, I'm not talking about V3's ending when it comes to characters from 1 or 2, because it's just a mess and honestly I'm not getting involved with that. Either way, that was the complete history and timeline of Nagito Komaeda in the Danganronpa series. There are other stuff such as Island Mode or his relationships with other characters in the series, but this video was just covering his timeline and backstory. Like I said at the start of the video, if I decide to do more of these videos, let me know in the comments and let me know which characters you want to see. These are fun to make, I think, question mark, I don't know. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!